Click on subscribe, click on the bell icon to get notifications from India's smartest channel, TRS Clips. The first player is my biggest idol at this point in my life. I've spoken about him a lot on the podcast. His name is Lebron James. A lot of people consider him to be the greatest basketball player of all time, and I'll tell you why. So, in basketball, up till the time he came, he got into the league in 2003. And right before that, that whole phase pre 2003, probably since the time basketball began, was very much a hero ball based sport. That meant that any team that won the championship would usually win because of one star player. One player would be significantly better than the other players, and that player would usually take the game into his own hands and score all the points in order to make his team win. He would be a scorer, he would be that guy who throws the ball into the basket. Now, in basketball, there's points. That's every time you throw a ball into the basket, you get 2 or 3 points. There's assists. The person who passes it to the scorer gets an assist. And that's also a very crucial part of the game. And there's something called rebounds. That means if someone's tried to attempt scoring and the ball doesn't go inside the net, but it bounces off the rim and it falls back into one of the players' hands, that player gets a rebound. He's rebounded it off the backboard and he's given it to the other players in his team. Now, up till LeBron James came into the league was based on hero ball. Here comes a guy who changes the game. He's definitely capable of playing hero ball. He's extremely gifted. He's an absolute beast of a man. He was huge, he was strong, and he was fast. But to top it all, he valued the team game much more than the individual game. He was very capable of becoming an individual game legend, but he decided that I'm going to be the guy who elevates my entire team. He focused on his assists. Till he came into the league, the hero of the team would only focus on the points. He was someone who focused on the assists, but he was so good that sometimes the team required him to focus on the point scoring as well. He's currently third or fourth all time in terms of scoring, but he's also high up on the list in terms of assists. He's a guy who elevates his entire team, and when need be, when his team requires him to, he goes and scores the points as well. That's why he's an idol of mine today. I personally feel that teamwork, team building, the elevation of the people around me is my big goal in life. And I study LeBron James's leadership mentalities, his personal mentality, his family life, his habits, his fitness routine inside out. That's what the sport of basketball has given me. It's given me one of my biggest idols of all time. He's that one guy who, if I ever bring on the podcast, I'll probably start crying before the podcast happens, or I'll cry immediately after it happens. I'm very emotional about LeBron James because if you study his story, you'll find out that he came up from complete poverty. His father had abandoned his mom when his mom was pregnant with him. His mom was 16 years old when she gave him birth and brought him up as a single mother. They basically had a really tough life. He was spotted by a basketball scout playing on the streets. They saw talent in him and then groomed him to become a really good basketball player. But because of the person he was, he decided I will be the guy who will assist my teammates much more. But because I'm capable, I'll also score. I'll make my team win. Lots of leadership lessons that you can learn from this man. Before we move on to the next player, I want to highlight one more aspect of LeBron James. Outside of basketball, he's mentored by Warren Buffett. And Warren Buffett has said that the way this guy is investing right now, he's going to become richer than me when he's my age. And Warren Buffett is one of the richest men in the world today. LeBron James is an intelligent, teamwork-based human being. I'll tell you one more gorgeous thing about basketball. It exposes your character. The court is so small. There's only 5 guys you're playing with. So based on the way a player plays the game, you get to know a lot about them as a human being. LeBron James helps his teammates on the basketball court. He's the kind of man who helps his teammates off the basketball court as well. His entourage, the people around him, his business team are the same people who were his bros when he was 17, 18 years old and he hadn't entered the league yet. He's elevated them to become CEOs of companies, elevated them to become founders of media companies. That's the kind of man he is. He's fueled them. He's given them the contacts, he's given them the finances so that they can be well established. I think he's been questioned about this at some point, and he said that, hey, you know what? I love my brothers, but it's also a way of financially securing me. If you make your whole team play well, it's very likely that your team will win the championship. He knows himself very well. He's self aware, and he uses that self awareness to better his game and to elevate his teammates. And on a side note, he's 35 years old today, and he's still considered in the MVP conversations of the league. That means he's the best player in the league, or at least one of the top 2 or top 3 best players in the league at the age of 35. Most basketballers start declining by the time they're 32, 33 years old. At 35, this guy is rock solid because he's taken care of himself. He's an extremely disciplined man. He's disciplined when it comes to his own body, and he's disciplined when it comes to the game. Because keep in mind, basketball is one of those games that changes every 10 years. He's kept up with the changes. He didn't have a 3-point shot that was really good. A 3-point shot is when you shoot outside the arc. In basketball courts, you've seen that big arc. So when you stand outside it and you shoot a basket, you get 3 points. He wasn't a good shooter. He developed an inside 2-point shot first. And when he figured, hold on, there's a lot of other players in this league who are getting better at the 3-point shot, he built an insanely good 3-point shot. That's the kind of man he is. And I think he did this when he was about 30 years old. Because if he wanted to win the championship, he had to beat a certain man called Steph Curry.